Hey YouTube, this is Ray Pooperton III with a review guide and gameplay on Dead Island Retro Revenge. At first glance, this game seemed to be just a simple arcade, that while fun and reminiscent of my Nintendo days, didn't seem to have much replayability. After I really dug in and got to know it, it is actually perfectly complex. My interest first peaked when I looked at the leaderboards after what I thought was a particularly great game. I had only gotten 3 stars out of 5, so I wanted to see how I stacked up. I had no idea how the scores could be so much higher than mine. What was I missing? I then looked around the main menu and found the hidden How to Play guide under the Options menu. The game features a simple 3-lane system where you can go up and down. The D-pad will work. There's 4 types of attacks: forward, back, up, and down. To check your button specifics, look at your How to Play. You also have access to 3 super weapons, my favorite being the crossbow. To charge your super weapon, you must kill all the flashing enemies in a sequence. It will then charge a quarter of the full bar. The game features a great point system with streak multipliers that double when using super weapons. You can also maximize your points by getting perfects back-to-back very quickly in succession. Using this super weapon makes this a breeze. As you can see here, I almost get 70 in a row. In addition to your super weapon, you get the choice of a magic power. The 3 choices are unlocked as you progress in the story, and all are essentially the same aside from the visual animation. The dragon looks the most badass to me. You can refill your magic power by breaking the reward boxes when you have used your power already. If you have not used your power and have full lives, you will receive a 2,000 point bonus, and if you have lost lives, it will refill your lives. Once you've beaten every level in story mode, you will unlock marathon and survivor game modes. For me, this is where this game really gets its replayability. In story mode, you can go back to each individual level and try to beat your best scores and achieve all 5 stars. This is not as easy as you would think. I've gotten all Chapter 1 and 2 done, but haven't even come close on Chapter 3. In marathon mode, you play through every level in story back to back, trying to make it all the way through without dying with the highest possible score. Every time you complete a level, your lives are completely refilled. In survivor mode, the enemies are randomized. As you progress, the speed will increase. It is essentially the game's hardcore mode. When you're playing, use barrels to your advantage. Hit them with any attack to send them flying into the air, and then use up, forward, or down to send them to one of the 3 lanes. Avoid the barriers or break them with power-ups, super weapons, and projectiles. There are 18 different types of enemies, the first and easiest of which is the walker. You can kill him with any of the attacks, and to get a perfect, you need to wait until he's right in front of your face. As a general strategy, I default to the low or down attack. This attack is safe for most of the enemies. The next enemy is the leader or skeleton. If you hit him with the mid or forward attack, you will get tangled up in his intestines and you'll lose a life. For this one, I just go low 2 times and he's dead. The next enemy is the dog. Hit him low, and this is your first projectile enemy. He'll fly up into the air, and like the barrels, you can hit low, forward, or high to choose which lane he will fly into. Next up is the hyena, or witch as I like to call her. This is the one and only enemy where a perfect is not achieved by being as close as possible. To get a perfect, hit her right when your kick is fully extended. She can also flank you from behind. When she is coming from behind you, you will hear this sound. Use a backwards kick, hitting her at the precise moment your leg is fully extended for a perfect. Next up we have the thug. He is also a projectile, but it is not directional. If you land the last hit high, his head will fly forward, taking out anything in his lane. Another projectile enemy is the riot shield enemy. To send his shield up into the air, hit him with a high attack. Timing is key with these directional projectiles. Sometimes you may want to hit the projectile immediately after it flies up, and sometimes you will want to wait for the perfect moment. These projectiles can be chained together as you can see here. The suicider is another enemy that has an audio cue before they appear. When a suicider is ahead of you, you will hear a camera like this. These enemies can only be taken out safely with projectiles or your super weapon, but they can be used to defeat large groups of enemies that you would have otherwise missed. The big guys are called stompers. They stomp the ground, sending out a blast you must avoid. After you have avoided the blast, you can send their massive heads rolling down the lane by pressing the forward attack twice, followed by the low attack. These guys have a tendency to glitch out and freeze up, as you see here. If you see this happen, switch lanes and come back, finishing with the low attack. If you remain in the lane with them without switching, you will get hit. The next enemy I'm going to show you is very annoying. The flanker is loud and the attack to defeat him varies. When he appears, he will come from behind, preceded by a yellow indicator arrow. If you time a backwards attack right, similar to the witch, you can knock him out with a perfect right here. If you miss him or do not get a perfect, he will go past you and double back. If he then attacks with a jump kick, attack high to defeat him. If he attacks with a slide, then attack low. The enemy wielding the pistol will fire at you, so avoid that and then disarm him, sending a bullet down the lane by hitting him low and then forward. The rifle guy will fire a burst to avoid, then hit him low twice, followed by a high attack to send a bullet down each lane. The flamethrower will send a long blast of fire down his lane. Avoid that, and when it disappears, hit him low 3 times followed by a forward attack. This will erupt his gas pack and send him flying down the lane. There are 2 types of enemies swinging a mace. One is swinging it high, the other swings it low. For the high swinging enemy, hit him high, then low, then high again. And for the low swinging enemy, do the opposite. Hit him low, then high, then low again. The enemy throwing grenades is pretty easy by himself. The problem is they tend to run in packs. Mash the attack of the lane you want the grenade to go to, and then hit him with any attack twice to kill him. The meathead in the wife beater is a martial arts specialist. He will switch lanes, so be careful of the ones in the middle. They could switch to either lane. Hit him with 3 varying attacks, never using the same one twice in a row to defeat him. Next up is the enemy throwing a machete. The machete can be turned into a directional projectile, but this enemy will duck it. When you get close, hit him with a high attack followed by a mid or forward attack. This will send the knife down his lane. Finally, we have the ninja, or the trickster. The key to this enemy is timing. Hit him with any attack when he is close, and time a backwards kick to kill him before he counterattacks behind you. That about sums up all of the enemies for you. The last thing I wanted to go over briefly is the options menu. Other than the volume controls, there are a few options you may want to know about and toggle on and off. The CRT effect toggles on a CRT tube TV border, and while the effect is cool, it gets in the way and it doesn't allow your game to go full screen. The crosshair toggles on a crosshair for help killing enemies. After getting used to the game's controls, I found it distracting and toggled it off. Ultra Gibs add more gore, and who doesn't want more gore? This never gets toggled off for me. The slow motion option toggles a slow motion animation when you get perfects. This animation constantly threw off my timing and caused me to lose a life. I would recommend turning it off. This concludes my review guide and gameplay for Dead Island Retro Revenge. If you enjoyed it, likes are appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more gaming videos. Peace!